Between 2015 and 2024, house prices across the European Union skyrocketed by a staggering 53%, with the average full-time pay projected at roughly €33,500 a year. Trying to survive on a below-average salary sounds like a fast track to absolute misery. But what if the reality on the ground is completely different from what those terrifying financial headlines want you to believe? Hey friends, X-Money-Lab here. Is it actually still possible to live a good life in Europe without a massive paycheck? Or are you doomed to rent a freezing broom closet forever? Let us dive in and find the truth. 1. The brutal housing crisis. Let us talk about the absolute nightmare that is looking for a place to live in a major European city today. You finally find a decent apartment, it has running water, a door that actually locks, and maybe even a window that does not look directly into a brick wall. But then you see the price tag, and suddenly, you are calculating how many meals of instant noodles you need to eat just to make rent. The truth is, the housing market across the continent has completely detached from reality, and if you are earning a below-average salary, you are the one taking the hardest hit. We are dealing with a brutal phenomenon known as the 40% income trap. Historically, financial advisors would tell you to spend no more than 30% of your take-home pay on housing. But that old rule of thumb is practically a joke now. According to Eurostat, nearly 10% of all citizens across the European Union are now spending over 40% of their disposable income purely on housing costs. That means before you even buy a single loaf of bread, pay your heating bill, or put away a penny for emergencies, nearly half your money is already gone. It vanishes into thin air the moment your paycheck hits your bank account. And do not think this is just a problem in struggling economies. Let us look at Germany, the supposed economic powerhouse of Europe. Data from the Federal Statistics Office in 2023 shows that approximately 1 in 5 German households spends at least 40% of their net income on rent. Think about that for a second. 1 out of every 5 households in one of the wealthiest nations on earth is officially house poor. You are working full-time, busting your back all month. And for what? Essentially, you are subscribing to a wildly overpriced premium service called having a roof over your head, and there is no option to hit cancel unless you want to sleep on a park bench. The core of this crisis is that housing costs are sprinting a marathon while wage growth is stuck crawling in the mud. A 2025 report by Eurofound laid out the grim reality clearly. Rising housing costs are disproportionately destroying the financial independence of minimum wage earners across Europe. When the price of basic shelter balloons year after year, but your hourly wage barely inches upward, the math simply stops working. For someone on a below-average salary, this creates a highly toxic cycle. You cannot afford to save up for a deposit to buy your own place, which means you are trapped renting forever. But because rent is so high, you cannot save money to move to a cheaper area or invest in better skills to get a higher-paying job. You are essentially running on a financial hamster wheel, sweating buckets just to stay in the exact same spot. Landlords hold all the cards in this twisted game. With massive shortages of affordable housing in cities like Berlin, Paris, and Dublin, hundreds of desperate renters are showing up to view a single cramped studio apartment. It has become a brutal competition where low-income earners are routinely pushed out to the far edges of the city, trading sky-high rent for exhausting, expensive daily commutes. So, if the rent is eating your entire paycheck and the major cities are shutting you out, is it time to just pack up and accept defeat? Or is there a hidden loophole in the European map where a modest salary can still buy you a comfortable, dignified life? 2. The geography of affordability. Here is the biggest lie you have been sold by financial doomscrollers. Europe is one giant identically priced continent where everyone is universally broke. The reality is that the European economy is less like a unified bloc and more like 2 completely different planets sharing the exact same border. If you are sweating over bills and struggling to survive on a below-average salary, your core problem might not actually be the size of your paycheck. It might just be your zip code. Let us look at the raw numbers to expose this massive geographical divide. As of January 2024, Eurostat revealed that monthly minimum wages across the European Union vary so wildly, it almost feels like a clerical error. On one extreme, you have a wealthy nation like Luxembourg, sitting comfortably at a staggering €2,571 a month. On the exact same continent, just a few short borders away, Bulgaria offers a minimum wage of just €477. That is an absolutely colossal gap in economic reality, proving that earning a low wage means something entirely different depending on where you stand. When major financial headlines scream about an impossible cost of living crisis, they are almost exclusively talking about Western and Northern hubs. If you blindly insist on living in Paris, Munich, or Dublin on a modest income, you are essentially volunteering for financial torture. Take Switzerland, for particular example. According to Eurostat data from 2024, Switzerland officially ranks as the most expensive country in all of Europe. Their general price levels hit an eye-watering 184% of the European Union average. Trying to survive there on a low wage is mathematically impossible. A standard cup of coffee might cost what a hearty meal does elsewhere, and your rent will drain your bank account before the first week of the month is even over. You are paying absolute top dollar just for the privilege of existing. But here is the geographical cheat code that remote workers and savvy expats have been quietly exploiting for the past decade. You absolutely do not have to live in the freezing, hyper-expensive north to enjoy the European dream. Southern and Eastern Europe offer a completely different reality. We are talking about nations like Poland, Bulgaria, and Croatia, where the cost of living drops off a steep cliff, but the actual quality of life remains surprisingly high. Over the last 20 years, these regions have modernized aggressively, meaning you get the same premium lifestyle without the crippling debt. Let us zoom in on Croatia to see the math in action. According to 2025 data from Numbeo, Croatia boasts a highly affordable cost of living index of just 43.2 compared to the wider European average. What does that actually mean for your daily wallet? It means your everyday expenses, your housing, your fresh local groceries, and your weekend entertainment cost roughly half of what you would shell out in a place like London, Copenhagen, or Amsterdam. That exact same below-average salary that makes you feel perpetually broke and miserable in Germany suddenly transforms you into a comfortable, stress-free resident in a vibrant city like Zagreb or a sunny coastal town in Split. And remember, you are not sacrificing modern civilization to get this discount. You still get reliable public transit, incredible healthcare, gorgeous historic architecture, and blazing fast internet. You are simply dodging the premium brand tax of living in a globally hyped capital city. The European map clearly proves that affordable havens still exist if you know exactly where to look. But this realization brings up a massive new hurdle. How do you relocate to a cheaper economy without the local job market dragging your income straight down with it? 3. Europe's hidden safety net. So, how do you survive a lower local paycheck without instantly plunging into poverty? You have to understand the magic of Europe's invisible salary. When you look at an average European paycheck, the raw number might seem almost laughably small compared to an American tech worker. But that smaller number is heavily protected by a massive, invisible safety net that completely slashes your out-of-pocket living expenses. Let us talk about healthcare. If you twist your ankle in the United States without premium insurance, you might be staring at a bankruptcy-level hospital bill. In contrast, universal healthcare across most of Europe means medical emergencies do not wipe out your savings. You are not forced to hoard a massive emergency fund just in case you get sick, which instantly frees up your modest monthly income. Then there is the transportation cheat code. You simply do not need to own a car to live a full, vibrant life in a European city. Between the car loan, insurance, gas, and repairs, car ownership is a massive drain on a low income. But thanks to heavily subsidized public transit, you can hop on high-speed trains, trams, and buses for a fraction of the cost. Finally, strong tenant protection laws act as a financial fortress. While rents are high, countries like Germany and France have incredibly strict rules against sudden evictions and random rent spikes. This invisible salary of cheap transit, free hospitals, and renter stability completely flips the script on what a low wage actually means. But does this safety net actually work if you want to build real wealth, or are you just comfortably stuck? 4. The final verdict, yes or no? Let us cut the romantic nonsense. We have seen the invisible safety net and the affordable regions, but can you actually build a thriving life, or are you just comfortably trapped on a financial treadmill? The final verdict is a massive, echoing yes. You absolutely can live well in Europe on a below-average salary. But here is the major catch. It requires you to play a completely different game than your parents did. If you cling to the old dream of living alone in a massive capital city on a starter wage, the math will break you. Just look at the hard data. The Federal Statistics Office reported in 2023 that in Germany, approximately 1 in 5 households spends at least 40% of their net income on rent. A 2025 Eurofound report specifically warned that these rising housing costs are crushing the financial independence of lower earners. So, how do you beat those odds? First, you have to kill the solo living fantasy. Embracing a modest lifestyle and flat sharing is not a sign of failure. It is your ultimate financial shield. Splitting rent and utilities with roommates instantly slashes your biggest monthly expense in half, freeing up cash for actual living instead of just surviving. Second, you must ruthlessly leverage geographic arbitrage. We already know the big capitals are a trap, but even within Western Europe, moving just 1 hour outside a major metropolitan hub to a mid-sized university town changes everything. You get the same exact public infrastructure, the same bakeries, and the same cobblestone charm, but at a massive discount. Third, you have to treat public infrastructure like your own private country club. When your paycheck is tight, you cannot rely on expensive restaurants or private gyms for happiness. You thrive by aggressively utilizing free museums, massive public parks, community festivals, and subsidized recreational centers. Europe is practically designed to be enjoyed outside of your apartment. Living the European dream on a tight budget is no longer about blindly moving somewhere and hoping for the best. It is a strategic puzzle. Avoid the megacities, split your living costs, and squeeze every drop of value out of public services. You might not have a massive bank account, but you will have a life rich in time, culture, and peace of mind. If this financial reality check helped you out, hit that like button, subscribe to X Money Lab, and start planning your next move.